He's already hit the ground once. He gets back up anyway. Sejun's knuckles are split open and he doesn't seem to notice. Doesn't seem to feel anything that should be slowing him down, because right now, nothing is. The man underneath him used to give orders. Now he's just trying to get an arm up to block. Then a second arm wraps around Sejun's throat from behind, and it isn't a warning. It's a choke, applied clean, applied total. The strength that felt unstoppable 30 seconds ago drains out of him, exactly the way real strength always does. Completely, like it was never his to begin with. Su-hyeon doesn't gloat. She just holds until he stops moving. Everyone's equal before the choke, she tells him, once he can hear it. Mess with something you can actually mess with, Sejun. That's where this ends. It starts somewhere uglier. It starts with a man tied down in an abandoned building, bleeding from a beating he hasn't earned a break from yet. He's the one who's been making problems disappear without a sound, the one who threatened to do the same to Su-hyeon not long ago. None of that helps him now. Rhino, the one they call Bull in the old circles, isn't interested in conversation. He's interested in results, and he gets them the fast way, fists first, threats after. By the time Su-hyeon takes over the questioning, the man is past performing toughness. He's just talking. Fast, eager to seem useful. He admits the operation fakes its shipments, swaps the real product through a delivery company's own paperwork, buries the trail in false records long enough to relocate before police can search anything. He claims loose ties to Director Kim's people, nothing more specific, and when Su-hyeon presses for a location, he laughs through broken teeth. They already expected this. Team leader Kang got beaten too, and look how far that got anyone. Then comes the part that actually matters. The men watching Hajin were never watching Hajin. She was bait. The real target was always Sejun. That's the moment the threat stops being abstract. Joseph notices it first, walking Hajin home from her cram school. The men who've been tailing her for weeks are just gone. No warning, no replacement crew, nothing. He doesn't relax. People who disappear that cleanly usually had somewhere more important to be. And somewhere across town, a man with bleached hair is already closing in on Sejun. Sejun recognizes the grin before he recognizes the face. A bully from years back, older now and meaner, wearing Director Kim's leash like it's a promotion. The needle goes into his neck before he can turn around, and the man laughs about it, loud and triumphant, certain he's just ended the fight before it started. He's wrong. Sejun was never down. He let the man believe it, baited the gloating, and when the bleached hair bully gets close enough to enjoy his own victory, Sejun puts him on the ground for real. No drug saves him from that. What's left on the pavement afterward is a syringe. Sejun picks it up, already suspicious. Sedatives work immediately, and whatever just hit his bloodstream hasn't done anything yet. He plans to bring it straight to Su-hyeon. He doesn't get the chance. A man in a suit is already waiting for him, calm in a way that makes the calm itself feel like a threat. He tells Sejun plainly, that's the same drug they used on Lee Young-gun. Skip a dose and the withdrawal will be the kind no hospital can treat. He'll deliver it personally, on schedule, like medicine. All Sejun has to do is keep his mind on the upcoming match with Chairman Han. That's the leash, and Sejun is already wearing it. Above this, in a different room entirely, Han isn't pleased, recovering, irritable, and out of patience with the man standing across from him. Director Kim has nothing solid to offer. Jason and Su-hyeon are operating like they were trained for exactly this. No evidence, no mistakes, nothing to grab onto. Their military pasts are sealed. There's no leverage to pull there either. Han doesn't bother hiding his contempt. He tells Kim plainly that he's either going to take real action or stop pretending calm is the same thing as control. Kim brings up his old suggestion again. Give Sejun the experimental drug directly. See if it produces something more useful than what happened with Young-gun. Han doesn't say yes. He says wait, and he says it like a threat dressed up as patience. If Kim screws this up too, the good treatment stops. Kim says he understands. Then he goes and does it anyway. He tells his own bodyguard he'll take full responsibility, and has him administer the drug to Sejun without Han's permission, betting that results will outweigh the disobedience if it works fast enough. It doesn't go the way either of them expects. The drug hits Sejun like something euphoric, something weightless, like his body has stopped keeping score of every fight it's been in. He feels like he could beat Chairman Han right now, beat anyone. He turns that feeling on the man who gave it to him. The bodyguard gets exactly what he asked for, and far more than he wanted. Speed he can't track, force he can't absorb. A kid half his experience, suddenly hitting like nothing has a limit. He's losing badly by the time Su-hyeon arrives, tracking Sejun by motorcycle through the gym's own location app, already turning a theory over in her head. that this whole match against Han might be less about revenge than it looks, that someone upstream may be using it to advertise the drug itself. She doesn't get to finish that thought before she finds him mid-rampage. That's where the choke happens. That's where this story already started. Once Sejun is breathing normally again, he describes what the high felt like. Untouchable, like clouds instead of ground. Su-hyeon doesn't romanticize it back to him. She tells him, flatly, that it's a trap dressed up as power, the kind of swamp that's easy to walk into and brutal to walk back out of. She decides then that guessing isn't good enough anymore. She needs to know exactly what this drug is, and the fastest way there runs through Jason's police contacts. It runs straight to Lee Young-gun. He isn't the same person who lost that fight months ago. He can barely digest food now. His words come out broken, the language slipping further every week, and the doctors treating him have no precedent and no cure. This isn't normal withdrawal, and everyone in the room knows it. Su-hyeon, Detective Na, and Detective Jong press him anyway, because right now he's the only one who's lived inside this operation and survived long enough to talk about it. And he talks. The organization recruits orphans and kids with nowhere else to go. Drugs the ones who show promise, then sells the new product to buyers using footage of those same kids fighting. He describes meeting Han at a rotating penthouse, not the factory that burned. Eyes covered the whole way there, so even he couldn't map the route back. He describes a half-brother with money written into the way he carries himself. And finally, pushed past the point where he can hold anything back, he gives up a name. Not Han Junwoo, Jang Junwoo, his mother's surname. The one record search will never find, because no one was ever looking for it. Somewhere else, that half-brother is already moving on a different front entirely. He tried other angles first, digging for weaknesses in Su-hyeon's crew, chasing down an old rumor about someone who used to run with gangsters before going straight, and none of it produced anything usable. So now he wants something simpler, a list, every corrupt prosecutor with their name on a particular registry, and he wants it fast. When his assistant mentions that Han just buried his mother's memory at her own grave on the anniversary of her death, the half-brother doesn't pretend to care. Once people are dead, he says, they're dead. Taking care of the dead is somebody else's job. And he adds something colder, almost an afterthought. Tell Han their father wants him home this week. Nobody has mentioned a father before this. Now there's one giving orders from somewhere above even the half-brother. And nothing about who he is or why his summons matters enough to interrupt everything else gets explained. Han, for his part, is alone at that grave when none of that reaches him yet. His leg has healed enough to walk, though nothing harder than walking yet. He's not thinking about his mother's ideology right now. Not the speech she gave him as a child about the weak being used by the strong. He's thinking about how badly his plan has already gone, how the only path left if he can't win clean is to take everyone down with him on the way out. He thinks about the kid who keeps coming back, no matter how many times he's been knocked down, the one he calls a bulldozer wearing a hunting dog's instincts. He doesn't sound afraid saying it. He sounds like a man recalculating the cost of losing. Which is exactly why Su-hyeon and Detective Jong go digging into who Han used to be before any of this started. They find a jiu-jitsu gym first, and a limping, stammering attendant who clams up the second the questions get specific. Tells them to wait for the director instead. The director, when he finally shows up, doesn't stay quiet for long once the pressure starts. His name is Park Chung-yeon, a former national coach, and what he remembers about a young Han Ju-woo doesn't match the man currently running half the underground from a hospital bed. He was the most skilled grappler on that team, regardless of weight class, timid, withdrawn outside the mat. The only place he ever looked happy was inside a gi, guarding from the bottom, blocking attack after attack like that was the safest place in the world to be. Then something happened, a championship, a second-place finish that should have been first, against a rival who beat him fair on paper and dirty everywhere else. After that loss, the teammates who used to spar with Han started getting hurt, one after another. Like something in him had stopped recognizing the difference between practice and punishment. The reason traces back to that one match, the one he should have won. That rival, Park Chung-yeon says, had used illegal drugs.